What's up, guys, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video. Okay, welcome to episode 3 of the Great Galactic Farming Guide. That's right, episodes 1 and 2 consisted of the Cantina Battles store and the Galactic War Store. Again, we are going over each character in there and giving them a grade A to F based on their importance and strength in the game. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Squad Arena Store. So, again, when we go in here, I'm not going to be grading the prestiges or the credits, but we will start right away with the characters. And, of course, we have Kanan Jarrus, another Phoenix character, another easy way to farm him. Guys, he gets a B. The reason he gets a B is because he's a Phoenix character. And how many times do I have to go over that he is needed to get Thrawn in the Chimera? Also, when you use him in the Phoenix faction, he's very good. His unique allows protection to be regained every time, or health to be regained every time there is a debuff that is applied. Good character, B, Phoenix, enough said. Next we have Cassian Andor, one of the other rebels from Rogue One. He's going to get a C. He could be lower, he could be higher. I know I'll have arguments from other people. When you run a Rogue One squad, you usually have Jyn, Chirrut, and Baze for sure. Cassian is usually one of those other ones. He can expose well. He can hit with decent damage. He works well with K2SO, with the taunt that goes on. He gets a C. He's not an awful character. He's not a great character. He's a fun character to use, and he's a rebel. Rebels are needed to get Emperor Palpatine, of course. Next, we have Mace Windu. Oh, the wonderful Mace Windu. When I first started playing this game, he was the first character I started to farm, thinking I'm going to be so far ahead of the curve getting Mace Windu here. He's got to be so powerful. He was one of the best lightsaber duelists in Star Wars history. He's awful. He honestly gets an F, and that is an F. I hope when the Jedi get a rework, he gets a lot more powerful. He's not useful for anything. He has a chance to expose, and he has a dispel, and it says he's a tank, but he can't even take damage. He's awful, guys. He gets an F. Next, we have Chief Nebbit. Yes, we're not going to talk about his kit very much, but I have mentioned before that Jawas are very, very important for the critical damage mods, and this is another easy place to get a Jawa. So, he's going to get about a... I'm going to give him a C. Because of his importance in the crit damage mod section. Otherwise, you know... he's nothing special. You could argue between a C and a D, but because of his importance in that aspect of the game, that's how we have it. So next we have Princess Leia, another rebel. And let me tell you, for those of you that are, you know, in the game and you have Commander Luke Skywalker, you have R2, Princess Leia is a very fun character to use, and she pairs very well with R2-D2 because when you stealth with R2 and she uses her ability to stealth, she gets her crit damage, crit chance, and offense up. She can hit multiple times. She can do some very good damage. She gets a B. She's a rebel, and she's usable in raids. And she's a pretty hard hitter. She's getting a B because she is usable and she actually in the past has been part of the meta. And she's fun to use too, by the way. Pair her with Commander Luke Skywalker, R2-D2. She gets a B. Moving on, Grand Moff Tarkin. Oh my gosh, I love Grand Moff Tarkin to death as a character, and in this game, I'm going to get right to it. He gets an A. The reason he gets an A is as a beginning player in this game, Tarkin's capital ship, the Executrix, is the best capital ship in the game. In fact, it can still compete in the top echelons of the arena, the fleet arena, and get #1. He's also usable in many different arena squads himself. I can use him in the #1 place because of his ability to give debuffs, take away turn meter. He's also able to help solo phase 3 of the hat if you have the Imperial Grand Maneuver team. And especially for an early game player with his leadership that can give speed up to Empire characters, he's fun to use. He gets an A. Because of that, he's a good character to use, and his Executrix, his ship, is incredible for beginning players. He's somebody you should farm right away. Moving on to Ugnaught. Ugnaught gets an F because he's awful. Now we're on to Greedo. Okay, Greedo. Greedo got much better with the rework. I'll back up a little bit. With the new Assault Battles, Ground War, that they used to have you do the resistance with, and now they gotta have Jedi, and you can use Jedi, Ewoks, and Ugnaughts. I cannot complete the Mythic tier, and of course it is droid based. Maybe Ugnaught will have something to do with that because he can stun droids and is powerful against them, but again, he gets an F. Now back to Greedo. Greedo got a decent rework when the Bounty Hunters got a rework overall. He can do pretty good damage with critical damage up, critical chance up. He can, of course, give them thermal detonators. Overall, he's going to get a C because he works well in the Bounty Hunter faction, and he's a Bounty Hunter you can farm early, especially if you're beginning players and you want to start, and you need to get those training droid events and the credit heist events going if you need to get those Bounty Hunters up there. That's what he's going to get. Next, we're moving on to Asajj Ventress. Asajj Ventress, oh my gosh, one of my favorite characters of the Clone Wars in general. Her storyline is great, and she gets an A in this game. The reason she gets an A in this game is because she is a raid master. That's what, right? Raid master. Her ability to get stronger every time she takes out an enemy is, and it's limitless. It can keep going on, and if you use her in the tank raid, she can be parts of teams that solo the tank raid. She's good with Night Sisters, obviously. Her still can be part of the meta. In the Sith raid, Night Sisters are one of the best factions to have, and she deals massive damage herself. She has a mass dispel. She's a great character. She gets an A. This is somebody you should farm. One, again, for Night Sisters, and two, she's a raid destroyer. The tank raid, the Sith raid, she's excellent. Somebody you should farm. A again. Now, moving on here to Savage Opress. Savage Opress is also a very interesting character in the Star Wars universe. He is the brother of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, of course, and he's actually pretty solid in this game. He used to be better than he was, but he's still pretty good. He has an ability called Overpower that when an enemy gets below 50% health and he uses it, it kills them automatically. Also, when he's Zetaed, he keeps gaining health and protection, which is awesome, and he's a Sith. Maybe I'll try running him in a Sith lineup around here, okay? I'm going to give him a C. He's viable in the game. He's somebody you can farm early as a Sith. He's a powerful character. He's not needed for anything, you know, specifically, but fun to use. Next, we're going to HK-47. Oh my gosh, first introduced in the Knights of the Old Republic computer game, one of the best computer games of all time, if not the best. The assassin droid of Revan, also known as the Meatbag Caller. In this game, he's pretty good. Again, I'm going to give him a C. I give away a lot of C's. I think he's going to get better. He works well with droids. And the other thing I'm going to point out is speculation. Eventually, Revan's going to come to this game. And my guess is to get Revan, you're going to need characters. It's going to be one of those hero's journeys or villain's journeys, depending on if we're going Darth Revan or he's light side, dark side. And HK-47 looks like he could be a very important part of that. Meeter Surik potentially come out by that time. Maybe that's what the Sith Triumvirate is needed for. Because of that, he's getting a C. Okay? He's not the greatest character in the world. He can be fun to use with the droid lineup, but he might be needed for something very important. And remember that. Admiral Ackbar. Admiral Ackbar is actually underrated in this game, in my opinion. He's a great rebel. He's a rebel you can get early. His ship is better right now in Ships 2.0. It works better with Geonosian ships now and the rebels. He's a great leader. In fact, he can be one of the leaders in the heroic tank raid that you can solo it with him, Ventress, Commander Luke Skywalker, Thrawn, Wampa. There's other characters you could throw into that spot. He also has a cleanse that can give turn meter and health. He can allow people to attack twice, not only himself, but also with his capital ship. He's going to get a B. He's a solid B character. Because his ship is good, and he is one of the original capital ships you can use. Mace Windu, I should go back and say Mace Windu has a capital ship. Sorry for digressing, but it isn't very good. Admiral Ackbar, he gets a B. He's a fun character to use as well, and he's still used in the top of arena in some aspects for certain teams that run with a Hermit Yoda, Commander Luke. There's still those flying around every once in a while. Next, we have Coruscant Underworld Police. It gets an F. Moving on. IG-88. IG-88 got a pretty good rework with the Bounty Hunter rework. His AoE can give target lock and do quite a bit of damage as well. He works well in a Boba Fett lead or in a Bossk lead, and his leadership ability is to get the contracts that go with that, it's easier to attain because it has to do with potency, and he can boost potency. But he's going to get a... see, this is... I wrote all this stuff down beforehand, and I keep looking at it, and it's saying, is it a B or a C? I'm going to give him a C because he's just not used very much. Yes, he's a bounty hunter, and he does have a ship that's not out yet. I have a feeling sometime the ship will come to the game. And he's interesting to use. He's also a droid. He can finish some droid lineups decently well. But he gets a C. Next, we're going to Eth Koth. Eth Koth gets an F. He's awful. Potentially, if somebody will level him up, and because he's powerful against droids and is able to stun them, maybe he's good in that assault battles. But he's pretty much worthless besides that. So, don't even go after him. Darth Sidious is next. Wow, you think that Darth Sidious would be even more powerful in this game because he is technically the, we have Emperor Palpatine. This is Darth Sidious, and when he shows up in that one episode of the Clone Wars and takes on Savage and Maul and kicks them around, it's awesome. I'm going to give him a D. The reason he's going to get a D and not a C is because he's just not used in many lineups. Yes, when you Omega one of his abilities, he can get exposes on everybody. He can give damage over time, but he's squishy. He doesn't deal enough damage to be effective. He's definitely not one of the Sith that you're going to put in the Sith starting lineup. Someone could argue a C, but I'm giving him a D just because he's not important in the game right now. There's nothing you need to use him for to unlock. He's fun to have, but he's by no means meta-defining. Next, we have Nute Gunray. Nute Gunray is very, very average. In fact, probably below average. He's able to stealth, give some thermal detonators. He's not somebody I would farm overall. He gets a D. Stormtrooper Han. Stormtrooper Han is actually a very, 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 very early game tank. If you're a beginner, farm Stormtrooper Han. One, he's a rebel, and you can do all kinds of events with him, especially get Emperor Palpatine. Two, when he taunts, he grants turn meter to the allies, and when he gets damage, he's also able to grant some turn meter. He can take a decent amount of damage, and his leadership ability early game is decent, but if it's one of the first characters you have, it boosts that defense. When he's above 50% health and below 50% health, he boosts the offense. I'm going to give him a B. Again, him and Princess Leia are great characters to have in the beginning of the game if you want to produce, or I should say move higher up in the squad arena. Fun character to use. So that is the squad arena. Very interesting. First things first, before I end the video, I love the comments that you guys are giving me. And in the Galactic War and the Cantina Battles store, I have had a few people make comments that I actually agree with. So I'm going to go correct those before moving on in the Great Galactic Farming Guide because, of course, the game is always changing and evolving. So when I go back into the Cantina Battles store, there was one character specifically I should have given a little bit more thought to, and I'll explain why. And that was First Order Officer. I gave him a bad grade. Here's a reason I should have given him a higher grade. One, he does work well with First Order, and two, to get BB-8, you need First Order characters, and this is an easy way to get BB-8 to 7-star, to get these characters in the Cantina store, the First Order characters and stuff like that. And BB-8 is meta-defining. He's great in all the raids. He's still used in the top of arena and Jedi training raid teams. That's why I'm going to bump First Order Officer's grade up to a C. He's an easy to get First Order character, and he's needed for certain aspects of the game. So that is the character I kind of, gave the shaft to in Cantina Battle Store. And then in the Galactic War Store, we're going to look down and go through these again. And the character that I probably didn't give enough credit to was Resistance Pilot. Needed in the Resistance faction to do certain events. Easy Resistance character to get early. And it can do a decent amount of damage. I'm moving this grade to a C as well. It wasn't as high. It should have been higher. I apologize for that last time. Thank you to the people that leave the comments. I want to make sure I stay on top of this and do things correctly because I'm not always right. And I want to know what you guys think if I do wrong. And that's why I'm upping the grades of these two characters. And they deserved it too, by the way. Sometimes, if you give me a compelling argument and I look at different aspects of the game, I will definitely change it. That's why I love the comments. I love the discussion that we have. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Stay tuned, because next we will be going over the Fleet Arena store, and that sometime changes, of course, but I can't wait to do that, and that will be the next episode in the Great Galactic Farming Guide. So peace out, and may the Force be with you.